Welcome to this BlazeMeter Did You Know session. We're going to look at how we can use BlazeMeter's test data generation features to generate random data. And this data can be used in many ways. It may be used in your testing, it may be used in your mock services. And we have various ways of creating not just strings of data, but sentences and paragraphs. So here we are in BlazeMeter. We've imported our JMeter script that has a CSV file defined inside that script. And in our data panel, we can see this is where we're going to define the rules for this test data. So we're going to add a data parameter. And the first thing we can do is just create some random text. So we have a function that allows us to do this. So if I use our search feature, you can see here we've got random text. And we only need two parameters, and that's literally the minimum and maximum length. So if I add this to our model, and we say we have a minimum of 5 and perhaps a maximum of 10. And what this will use is the alphanumeric alphabet to then return between 5 and 10 characters, as you can see in this preview. Now that's fine for most use cases, but sometimes you want to control the actual characters that are required inside the string. And we have another function for that. So if I add another function, and this time I'm going to say random characters. And the function is actually random characters. So we go down here, we can see random characters. Again, we specified the minimum and the maximum, but also the actual characters we want to use. So if I add this to my model, and again we say minimum of 5, maximum of 10, what we can then do is also define what characters we want to use in this string. So perhaps we want to use C, D, E, F. Now if I preview this, we'll get a minimum of 5 to 10 characters using those characters, as you can see. Now this is powerful because we can now combine this to create a string. So if we know that our first part of our model needs to be 5 characters, and then perhaps we need to add another 5 characters, we can do the plus. Add this again. And perhaps in the second 5 characters, perhaps we want to be in lowercase, and it's a different set of characters. We preview this. And we've now got a simple example where we can generate a rule where we can generate this string of characters and control exactly what characters we're going to use to actually create the string we're looking for. Now this is great, but also it may be you want to create words or perhaps sentences or paragraphs. And we have a different function we can use for this. So let's say we're going to use random words. And again, we use our function to search for it. And in our rem functions, you can just specify, as you can see here, you want a particular length of a string. So if we add this to our model and we say 10, and that will use our lorem generators to give us these words, as you can see. We can also do this to create a sentence. So we're going to say random sentence. And in the sentences, all you have to specify is how many sentences you want. So perhaps we just want 2 sentences. And finally, we can do a paragraph. So let's do a paragraph. And the same thing, it's only a single parameter. Now, how many paragraphs do you want? So let's just say we want 1 paragraph. So as you can see there, we've been able to generate not just strings of text, but also words and sentences and paragraphs to make this data look realistic. But sometimes you may want to actually use a list of values. So our final example we're going to show is how we can create a list and use that within BlazeMeter. So imagine you need to list something like continents. And what you need is a list of the continents. So if we do, again, the rand, we can do rand from list. So you can see we've got rand from seed list and rand from list. Seed lists are those that are built into the platform, but we're going to use the list, which allows us to actually specify the values. So you can see here we're saying the values are 1, 2, 3. And what will happen is you'd get a random selection of 1, 2, 3. Now, if we add this to our model, what we're going to do is actually add the continents. So we've added US, UK, EMEA, APJ, and the final parameter you can define this perc null, which is percentage null. So how many null values do you want? So if you leave it blank, you have no null values. We're going to say 25. So 25% of the time, we'll add a null value. So if we look at our model, as you can see here, and we say we want 10 rows. So we have 10 rows of our random text and our characters. We also have these random words and our sentences, as well as our paragraphs. And if we scroll over to the right-hand side in our continents, we will see the selection from our list. So as you can see there, we've got UK, APJ. So we've got a random selection of the list that we defined, as well as those null values. So what we've shown you is how quick and easily you can use the BlazeMeter test data generation rules to create this random text that you need in your tests. So please go to blazemeter.com and sign up today. You can start testing straight away. We have videos and blogs to help you get started, as well as our BlazeMeter University. There's great free courses.